Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I'll be taking a look at the top 10 vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s and 60s for January 2026. If you are a regular follower of these monthly top 10 videos, new for 2026 is, in addition to PSA graded cards, I will also have SGC graded cards as part of the mix that make up the top 10 sales. And I decided to split the various decades that I do the top 10 lists into 2 decades per video. So there's a 30s and 40s video. This here is the 50s and 60s, and then there'll be a third top 10 of the 70s and 80s. So for January 2026, for the 1950s, cards from the 1952 top set are very prevalent in the top 10. And for the 1960s, there are a good number of cards from the 1969 set that show up in the top 10. So let's get started. For the 1950s, coming in at number 10, we have this 1951 Bowman Willie Mays in a PSA 5. This one sold on January 14th for $14,365. It was a best offer. Current VCP average price for a PSA 5 is $15,360. The record high sale was $32,100 back in March of 2021 through eBay. Now, there were 2 other significant 1951 Bowman Willie Mays sales in January. We have another PSA 5 copy selling on January 18th for $13,400, and then another PSA 5 copy sold on January 19th for $13,100. At number 9, we have this 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 5. This one sold on January 29th for $16,975. It was the best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 5 is $9,575. The record high sale was $19,303 back in January of this year through Mile High. Now, there was one other significant 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle sale in January. We have a PSA 5 copy that sold on January 1st for $10,200. At number 8, we have this 1952 Topps Eddie Matthews in a PSA 8 off-center. This one sold on January 2nd for $17,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 qualifier is $9,466. The sale here at $17,000 represents a new record high sale for a PSA 8 qualifier. The previous high was $12,500 back in August of 2022 through eBay. There have been 11 copies that have received an 8 qualifier. 2 have been graded an 8.5, and 2 have been graded a PSA 9 with no PSA 10s. Now, there was one other significant 52 Topps Eddie Matthews sale in January. This one being a PSA 5 copy, sold on January 28th for $11,000. At number 7, we have this 1952 Topps Willie Mays in a PSA 6. This one sold on January 2nd for $17,050. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 6 is $15,570. But the record high sale was $42,552 back in July of 2022 through eBay. Now, there were 4 other significant 1952 Topps Willie Mays sales in January, starting off with a PSA 4.5 copy that sold on January 23rd for $14,995, a PSA 4 copy sold on January 8th for $13,356, a PSA 5 copy sold on January 20th for $10,100, And finally, an SGC4 copy sold on January 25th for $9,000. At number 6, we have this 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson in a PSA 4. This one sold on January 27th for $19,700. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $15,740. The record high sale was $35,200 back in March of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. At number 5, we have this 1952 Bowman Mickey Mantle in a PSA 7. This one sold on January 29th for $20,400. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for PSA 7 is $13,492. The record high sale was $23,602 back in March of 2021 through Memory Lane. At number 4, we have this 1959 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8.5. This one sold on January 24th for $21,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for PSA 8.5 is $23,466. The record high sale was $31,980 back in March of 2021 through a golden auction. Now, for PSA 8.5 copies, there have been 17 cards graded at that level. 27 have been graded a PSA 9, and only one has been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other significant 1959 Topps Mickey Mantle sale in January. This one being a PSA 8 copy that sold on January 31st for $10,000. At number 3, we have this 1955 Topps Sandy Koufax in a PSA 8. This one sold on January 9th for $39,999. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for PSA 8 is $35,461. The record high sale was $42,000 back in January of 2022 through Heritage. There have been 248 copies graded a PSA 8. 25 have been graded a PSA 9, and only 3 have been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other significant 1959 Topps Sandy Koufax sale in January. This one, another PSA 8 copy, sold on January 31st for $38,000. At number 2, we have this 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle in a PSA 7 miscut. This one sold on January 29th for $40,000. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 7 qualifier is $37,000. And this represents here the $40,000 sale represents a new record high sale for a PSA 7 qualifier. The previous high was $37,000 back in March of last year through eBay. Now, there were 2 other significant 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle sales in January. The first one, a PSA 4 copy, sold on January 21st for $26,549. And an SGC4 copy, sold on January 21st for $24,000. And the number 1 sale from the 1950s for January 2026 was this 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 1. This one sold on January 17th for $40,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for PSA 1 is $31,227. But the record high sale was $60,001 back in September of 2022 through Heritage. All right, on to the top 10 from the 1960s. At number 10, we have this 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle last name in yellow in a PSA 8.5. This one sold on January 1st for $8,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8.5 is $8,000. The record high sale was $10,800 back in April of 2022 through REA. There have been 31 copies graded a PSA 8.5, 65 have been graded a PSA 9, only 2 have been graded a PSA 10. At number 9, we have this 1960 Topps Willie Mays All-Star in a PSA 9. This one sold on January 26th for $8,376. It was an auction. There were 40 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $8,376. This sale here at $8,376 represents a new record high sale for a PSA 9 copy. The previous high was only $3,000 back in October of 2024 through Heritage. There have been 12 copies graded a PSA 9. None have been graded a PSA 10. At number 8, we have this 1968 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9. This one sold on January 13th for $8,800. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for PSA 9 is $8,975. The record high sale was $18,830 back in December of 2021 through Memory Lane. There have been 185 copies graded a PSA 9. 11 have been graded a PSA 10. At number 7, we have this 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 8. This one sold on January 1st for $9,101. It was an auction. There were 50 bids. The current VCP average price for PSA 8 is $9,676. The record high sale was $17,765 back in September of last year through Memory Lane. There have been 760 copies graded a PSA 8. 69 have been graded a PSA 9, and only 1 has been graded a PSA 10. Now, there were 2 other significant 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan sales in January. We have a PSA 7 copy that sold on January 12th for $5,000, and then another PSA 7 copy sold on January 1st for $4,750. At number 6, we have this 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This one sold on January 26th for $9,900. It was an auction. There were 58 bids. The current VCP average price for PSA 8 is $9,800. The record high sale was $12,134 back in September of last year through Memory Lane. There have been 320 copies graded a PSA 8. 31 have been graded a PSA 9, and none have been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other significant 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle sale in January. We have an SGC 8 copy that sold on January 8th for $5,501. At number 5, we have this 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson in an SGC 8.5. This one sold on January 4th for $10,611. It was an auction. There were 33 bids. The current VCP average price for an SGC 8.5 is $9,956. This sale here at $10,611 represents a new record high sale for an SGC 8.5. The previous high was $9,300 back in October of last year through Fanatics Collect. Now, there have been 11 copies graded in SGC 8.5. 17 have been graded in SGC 9, and none have been graded in SGC 10. Now, there was one other significant 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson sale in January. This one, a PSA 8 copy that sold on January 12th for $5,555. At number 4, we have this 1960 Topps Sandy Koufax in a PSA 9. This one sold on January 19th for $13,701. It was an auction. There were 54 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $15,768. The record high sale was $26,149 back in February of 2022 through memory lane. There have been 42 copies graded a PSA 9. Only one has been graded a PSA 10. At number 3, we have this 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. This one sold on January 28th for $15,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for PSA 9 is $12,969. The record high sale was $19,200 back in February of 2024 through Heritage. There have been 130 copies graded a PSA 9. Only 3 have been graded a PSA 10. At number 2, we have this 1968 Venezuelan Nolan Ryan in a PSA 2. This one sold on January 6th for $20,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for PSA 2 is this sale here at $20,000 and represents a new record high sale for a PSA 2 copy. The previous high was only $1,825 all the way back in November of 2008 on eBay. There have only been 7 graded a PSA 2 and only 13 have been graded higher. And at number 1 from the 1960s for January 2026, this 1967 Topps Venezuelan Roberto Clemente in an SGC4. This one sold on January 8th for $22,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for an SGC4 is $22,000, and this sale here represents a new record high sale. In fact, it is the only reported sale in VCP's database of an SGC4 copy. There have only been 2 graded by SGC in a 4. None have been graded higher. Now, there have been 2 graded by PSA in a 5, and 1 has been graded a PSA 5.5. Well, there you go. The top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s and 60s for January 2026. As always, would love to know in the comments what you think about the cards that made this month's top 10 lists. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.